Let's make some noise. Come on.
Oh, yes, indeedy. Thank you once again, Nick Foles, and welcome everybody back to the Final Word with MattyB here on the It's So Rap Sports Network. And welcome to July, and welcome to a night without a Phillies game. Yeah, I hate that. Man, I hate that, especially when there's one scheduled. But when one of these moments happen and you lose the game due to weather, you get the opportunity, like the Phillies will have tomorrow, to play two. It's so nice. We'll play two, as the Phillies will have a day-night doubleheader scheduled against the San Diego Padres tomorrow to make up for the fact that every game apparently on the Eastern Seaboard was rained out today. So where there's bad news, there's good news wrapped around that. So we'll talk Phillies. I have no issue with that, but they're not the hot topic tonight. No, they're not. It is your hockey team, the Flyers, with a first day of free agency. Today was at 12 p.m. is when the official free agency period kicked off in the NHL. And for the first time in a few years, the Flyers actually had money to spend. And they did. Did they do it wisely? Did they do it impactfully? Well, we'll talk about that tonight as the Flyers added a few players. I don't know how much of an impact any of them will have, with maybe the exception of Dan Vladic, the goalie. Other than that, I'm not necessarily sure how the others will pan out, but we'll definitely get into some hockey tonight. And we got our of the night segment, our card review, and of course, your day in Philadelphia sports history. All that tied up in a nice, impactful hour of entertainment that only I can provide. I mean, there's nobody out there that can do this quite the way I do, and I take great, I take great satisfaction in that. I really do. Everybody has their opinions, and I'll respect those. I don't agree with them, but I respect them. And I know I'm not necessarily a lot of people's cup of tea. I really don't care. But let's. It's great to be back tonight again, and also a twofer, man. We're here. We're here. We're here for a second night in a row. It's been a while since I could say that I'm on the air for 2 nights in a row doing my own show. As I mentioned, my schedule has lightened up enough to where I can get on the air. Hopefully for the rest of the week. Well, I'm lying because I won't be on tomorrow night. I'm already telling you that I won't be here tomorrow night. I will be north of the border. I'm going to Canada. That's right. It's time. The United States has had enough of me. They're extraditing me to Canada. So, but no, I'm going to Toronto tomorrow for the day. I'm taking a day trip to Canada. I'm going to be in attendance tomorrow night. Is it the Rogers Center? Is it the Sky Dome? Is it the whatever they call the new Blue Jay Stadium? I'll be in attendance tomorrow night for the Blue Jays Yankee game up there in Toronto. So I will not be on the air tomorrow, but I'll be back on Thursday. Thursday, I will be back for our show, even though it's my 1-year wedding anniversary and all that. But still, the people must receive their news. So I'll be in attendance on Thursday to finish out the work week. So 3 shows is not bad based on how my record's been lately. So I'm looking forward to that, and I cannot wait. Star Wars says, "Come on, Phillies and Brewer tomorrow." What? Star Wars, maybe I missed something. Are they playing the Brewers? I thought we played the Padres. Are they playing the Brewers? Did we switch venues? Are they ending the series early? I think. Do you mean to say Phillies and Padres? That's really a far off autocorrect response there. But Phillies and Brewer tomorrow. Is this July 1st, 2025? Am I speaking to you in the present day? Are you guys in the past? I mean, am I caught in a time vortex? Somebody help me out. Is it still 2025, July 1st? But I think Star Wars means Padres. I hope he means Padres, and I hope I'm not missing something. Always, Steve. I'm always impressed with myself. If I'm not impressed with myself, then who's going to be? I mean, you got to look at it that way. Oh my God, XPS. What the hell does that mean? XPS? Huh? Don't know what that means. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day. Absolutely, everybody. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day. The New York Mets pay Bobby Bonilla, $1.19 million every July 1st, and they got 10 more years to do it. You often hear me on this program tell you that I'm in the wrong business for a myriad of reasons. I'm in the wrong business to where I can wake up every morning on July 1st and receive a deposit into my account of $1.19 million. So, yes, happy Bobby Bonilla Day to all you Mets fans and all you Bobby Bonilla fans, and to Bobby Bonilla, who this has got to be like second Christmas for him, or a Christmas come early, whatever you want to say. And he's going to be for the next 10 years as he'll get paid his payout money that the Mets owe him. So, yes, happy Bobby Bonilla Day. They both have a doubleheader. Brewers playing it. Okay. Why are we talking about the Brewers, man? But yeah, there was a massive rain issue along the Eastern Seaboard tonight. A lot of games got rained out. I know Boston was rained out. I think the Yankees are out of town. As I mentioned, I'll be in Toronto watching them. So there is going to be a day of doubleheaders tomorrow in Major League Baseball. What the F is Christian Dvorak going to do for the Flyers? He's going to be the fourth line centerman, Steve. And yes, he's going to be a $5.4 million a year fourth line centerman. As I led the show in, and it's obviously the hot topic of the show, Flyers free agency. Did they spend the money wisely? They had money to spend. Did they spend it wisely? They got about $4 million left under the cap right now after going on a little bit of a shopping spree today. We're going to unpack that. All right. We're going to unpack that because there's probably not a lot of people out there that know who Christian Dvorak is, who know who Dennis Gilbert is, who know who Lane Peterson is, and so on and so forth. And to be honest with you, you're right. You should not know who these people are because they've been very it's not been very inspiring NHL careers. These are tweeners. These are young guys. These are up and down type guys. A Stanley Cup run, this is not, all right? But I'm going to get into that. So we will talk some we're definitely going to talk some Flyers. But let's get it going. Let's strap it on, strap it up, strap it in. Keep your head, hands, and feet inside the car at all times. And here we go. On your day in Philadelphia sports history, folks, we go back to the year 1958. Phillies first baseman Ed Boucher, Sporting News Rookie of the Year in 1957, was reinstated today by Major League Baseball after receiving a sentence of 3-year probation for indecent exposure. That's right. Baseball Commissioner Ford Frick allowed Boucher to return to the Phillies after 3 months of treatment in a Connecticut psychiatric hospital. Frick released the following statement. It was the only decision I could live with. I have made an exhaustive study of all the evidence, and I am convinced Boucher is completely cured. If there was any evidence that he would fail again, I would not have reinstated him. I am assuming sole and complete responsibility. So, to recap, the Phillies reinstated or had the 1957 Rookie of the Year reinstated after an indecent exposure incident that he was committed to a psychiatric institution in Connecticut for treatment. And only after 3 months, the commissioner of baseball, in his vast, infinite knowledge, decided to reinstate him, saying that he believes, because he's some sort of expert in the subject or has insight to the man's psyche, he'll never do it again. So, can't make this stuff up, man. You would think that the stupid news only happened in our lifetime. No, that's been happening forever. But on this day, the Phillies get their. I don't want to call him a pervert. I don't know doesn't go into the details of the incident, but Ed Boucher, reinstated today by Major League Baseball after serving 3 months of a 3-year probation of indecent exposure after attending a not a convention, but after being committed to a Connecticut psychiatric institution. There you go. And that segment was brought to you by the fine folks of this network who bring you programming like this. That's right, the PNM and the AM program. Your Sunday morning shall not be ever the same. And then the attacking third as well here on the network every Thursday at 9 for all you Union soccer people out there. So make sure you're tuned in for all the great stuff we have on the network. And a little PSA or a little programming update. As far as I know, folks, we are not changing anything about programming over the weekend. We are full systems go, even though it is a holiday weekend. But we are going to be here to give you the shows that we promised to give you, and the ones that we give you every week or every day. That's not going to stop. So please keep us in mind or bring us along on your July 4th weekend, because we'll be here doing what we do best. Just wanted to put that out. There was some questioning about that, whether or not we were going to be on the air this week, but we will be there. They're playing the Mets. Okay, so the Brewers are playing the Mets. Yeah, it's rain all over the Eastern Seaboard. You should have just said the Mets are playing. I would have caught on easier. It's got to be the wildest waste of contract I've ever seen. Steve's referring to the Christian Dvorak trade, or not trade, but the contract of Christian Dvorak. We're going to get into all that. I just don't get it. I'm just wondering about the goalie the Flyers have signed. Michael Papernik's chimed in. He's got to be for the power play. All right, so you guys are goading me on. Let's do it. Let's get into this a little bit. I want to set the table, though. I do want to set the table for what the situation was. So free agency started today. The Flyers had money to spend. Actually, going into this period, they had like the 5th most cap in all of hockey to start this. So for the first time in a very long time, they had some money. But I remember what Keith Jones said not too long ago. It was during the season when asked about the impending free agency period. He said, yes, we are going to have some money. Yes, we are going to have more money than we've had in a while. But that doesn't mean we have to spend it, or we have to spend it all. Now, we knew going into this that the free agency class was not what you would call generational. There wasn't too many needle movers, with the exception of maybe Mitch Marner, who went off to Vegas, Austin Matthews, but he wasn't going to leave Toronto. So there was a few names out there, maybe a handful, but there was a commonality about those handful of names. Their age, which was up there, and the fact that they had strong home ties to their teams. So even though the Flyers had some money to spend and some assets to pick up, and the Flyers need players. Don't get me wrong. We had to go out and get players somehow. They didn't necessarily have to go out and spend all their money. Now, next year, of course, the big one that everyone's been waiting for to see if it even actually happens, Connor McDavid will be a free agent, but I don't know if he ever makes it there. But that's a story for another day. But as far as today at noon, when the Flyers and the rest of the teams in the league began to sort of pivot, make moves, try to sign some players, Flyers were right in, and they jumped in feet first. The first news I heard was the signing of a goaltender, which was, again, a need, a list. It was on the list. We needed him. Dan Vladar, formerly of the Calgary Flames, has joined the Flyers on a 2-year contract, which, as I've said this in the past, was needed. Ursa needs some help. Now, whether or not this is the right guy, Jake Allen wasn't the right guy, whatever, but if this is the right guy, that remains to be seen. But for what the Flyers are going to want him to do over the next 2 years, I'm fine with, because it's all about getting to the next crop of prospects, Igor Zavragin and Carson Bjornsson. It's all about getting to them and getting them to the point where they can seriously challenge for the starting job. There was no magic wand in this draft for free agents. The Flyers weren't out looking to sign, and I hate to say this, but Bobrovsky, which, of course, I get it, all that. But there was no player like that out there that the Flyers were going to wave a magic wand and then poof, here comes their franchise goalie. They're not looking for that player either. They're a rebuilding team, and that's another key word in all this that everyone needs to understand. They're rebuilding. This is not a free agency class or period where the Flyers were looking to push themselves over the top to a Stanley Cup. This is not what that is. This is another step in the process of filling gaps in. The first couple seasons under Tortorella in the official rebuild period, they made their assessments. They got the players that they feel that they can move forward with, and they're getting rid of the players that they felt they weren't going to move forward with. So they did that. Now it's sort of starting to build again through the draft, hopefully through some trades, Zeros, but not necessarily through free agency this year. I'm not saying they can't do it, but this year the class was not that inspiring. It was old. It was some good names, some talent, but they were old. Old. They don't fit the Flyers mold or their timelines. So Dan Vladar comes from Calgary. Last season, 30 games played, 12-2 with a 2.80 ERA, or ERA, goals against average, sorry, and a 0.898 save percentage. In his career, he's played in 105 games, 49 wins, and 4 shutouts, with a career goals against average of 3 and a save percentage of 8.95. Now, the save percentage doesn't wow people, doesn't blow me away either. But is he a better option than Fedotov? Is he a better option than Kovalchev? I say yes. I say he's a better option. And that's exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for a better option. And we're looking for a guy that's used to being the 1A to 1B or whatever to split time with Urson. So it checks the block for me. Now, whether or not it's the right guy, and I don't think he is the right guy. There's no future for Dan Vladar here in Philadelphia. There's a 2-year future, and that's all, right? It's an immediate future, but we're not building the damn team around Dan Vladar. So it's a block check. It's a check a block. It's that to me. So I'm okay with the goalie, to answer Michael Papernik's question. Absolutely okay with it, because if you look at the other goalies out there, there were a bunch of Dan Vladars out there. There was no true number one, and nor the Flyers were not looking for a true number one. It's all about bridging the gap to get to the next group of prospects so they can have an opportunity to be the goalie of the future or the goalie of the franchise. It's all about getting to Carson Bjornsson and Igor Zarajin in a couple seasons when they're both ready to compete for a legitimate starting position for this team. That's what the Dan Vladar signing means to me, and I'm perfectly fine with it. Is Dan Vladar going to win us a Stanley Cup? No. Is Sam Urson going to win us a Stanley Cup? No. But it checks a block. We need some help. He's better than Fedotov. He's better than Kovalchev. It checks the block for me. Is it going to be inspiring and needle moving? I don't think so, but it checks the block. He has to be for the power play. And we're obviously referring to Christian Dvorak, who we're going to go into here in a second. Bobby Pache, yeah. I don't make this stuff up, man. Joe Hale, what's going on? And now he's asking me, what's your thoughts on the Flyers signing so far? All right, so I just broke down the Dan Vladar situation. Now let's get into the big one. $5.4 million. Christian Dvorak on a 1-year deal coming from the Flyers from the Montreal Canadiens. Last season, let's look at his numbers from the last season here. In 82 games for the Canadiens last year, 12 goals, 21 assists for 33 points, a stellar -5 on the plus-minus. He's been with the Canadiens for the course of the last 4 seasons. But before that, he was a tweener bouncing back and forth from the NHL. Listen, he's a quality depth guy. He's a Ryan Poehling kind of guy, but we're not paying him like that. He's going to provide that number 4. He's going to be that fourth line centerman who's got some offensive punch. Again, I think the Flyers are trying to recreate the line. Or did we trade out Poehling for Dvorak? Potentially. Does Dvorak got a little bit more athleticism than Poehling? Potentially. Is it the same player? Potentially. But what's the heartburn about it, of course, is the money. Now, Danny B had a presser today and basically said, and I hate to use an Al term here, but you gotta pay to play, right? And there was obviously a bidding war going on between services of some of these players, and maybe the Flyers got a little bit over anxious with that, but they ended up getting the guy for a little bit of an elevated salary. Do I like the money? I do not. I think it's ridiculous they had to pay a fourth line centerman $5.4 million to play. Is he going to be running around all season long with a $5.4 million expectation on his back? I don't know. But essentially they just got Ryan Poehling back and they paid a lot for him. So the player, okay, the money, maybe not. But again, not a needle mover. Does he provide some depth? He does. He provides a lot of depth on the he provides that depth in that fourth line. You know, we're weak at center. And we didn't have a fourth line centerman. just traded him away. So yeah, I mean, he was a necessary evil, but of course, the heartburn I have is the money, and then that's the heartburn that I'm having. Money. Must have had trouble finding events. It was tough. There was only that one, and one that involved the Pittsburgh Pirates getting shut out by the Phillies for the first time in MLB history or something like that. It was a rough day in Philadelphia sports history. Dombrowski isn't just trying to keep the Phillies' attention; it's trying to keep them from aging out of relevancy. That's a good point, Steve. I agree with that question. I absolutely agree with that question or with that statement. And we went over that a lot last night, and we'll continue to go over that over the course of the next few months as the running the backs scenario for the Phillies continues to play out year after year. But I'm interested to see if this season kind of blows up in a lot of people's faces, or especially in the Phillies. Does Dave Dombrowski get so flippant about running it back in 2026? And more importantly, do we allow that as a fan base? I say no. But we'll have to wait and see how that kind of works out. People swore Demko was coming here. They also swore what's his name from God, who just signed with let me see. Let me look at it. I just had it up here. Let me look at it. He just signed with Corey Perry was coming here from the Oilers, but he signed with the Kings. I would have liked Corey Perry better than Christian Dvorak, to be honest with you. So let's move on now to our next free agent player. Noah Juulsen, formerly of the Vancouver Canucks, joins the Flyers. And this guy is the prototypical tweener. He played, he's been in between Vancouver and their AHL affiliate. Before that, he was in between Florida and their AHL affiliate, Tampa and their AHL affiliate. The last 2 seasons, though, he did stick around primarily with Vancouver. Only 35 games, though, this year. I think he was dealing with some injuries. 35 games for the Canucks this year. No goals, no assists, no points, and a -12. So take that signing that's a depth signing all the way. He'll probably be splitting time between here and Lehigh Valley, but that was like a $900,000 contract. That has AHL written all over it. That's, to me, just a depth move, straight up depth move. I'm not going to sit here and grade that. Every team needs a guy like that, and the Flyers definitely need some help along that blue line for some depth. So, yeah, whatever. Again, not an inspiring move, but a depth move, which leads me to my fourth player, is, of course, Dennis Gilbert, formerly of the Ottawa Senators, joins the Flyers after posting just 4 games played with the Senators last season. He scored no goals and 1 assist. I believe he was bouncing back in between a couple of affiliates of the AHL level. He was with Buffalo at one. He also started the season with Buffalo. He played 25 games with Buffalo before being traded to Ottawa. Then I think he went down to the minors and came up at the end of the season. So again, another depth move. Signed him at like $775,000 contract. It's a straight minor league deal. So needle movers, no. Any of these moves, they check a box for me with the goalie, and they check a block with me for the centerman. I get that a lot of people are kind of kicking themselves, like, why are we not going after better players, or why are we not going after high-ticketed players? I caution everybody by saying we're a rebuilding team, and it's unfortunate. Now, I am concerned because I think the Flyers need to take a step forward at some point this year, and I don't know if this roster is the roster they're going to do it with. And I know that there's significant shortages in significant positions along this team. Center remains a problem. Goalie also remains a problem. And these are 2 positions that are going to dog the Flyers, along with the defensive instabilities that are going to dog the Flyers for the rest of the season. I get that. But again, when you're rebuilding, you take on a certain responsibility, and that responsibility is to build for a Stanley Cup contender. Yeah, it's been 6 years, going on 6 seasons that the Flyers haven't made the playoffs, and I agree that's not acceptable. And I need to see some playoffs. But Keith Jones said it. I agree with him. You know, more money's coming off the books next year. The free agent class next year is better. They got a potential ability to be more active in that free agency. I'm not saying going after McDavid or anything like that, but they're going to have more money to spend. I mean, Currently now the Flyers have about $4 million left. They're about $4 million under the cap. What's about the 21st most cap money remaining in the NHL. And don't forget Cam York and his contract are looming out there. So probably this is it. They're going to probably use the rest of that cap money to secure Cam York and be done with free agency. So there's still the trade avenue, but obviously maybe not the first day of free agency everybody was expecting. But I'm going to tell you, I was actually impressed. I was very impressed because it's the first time in years that we've sat here and talked about an active day of free agency. This is the first time since what? When they went out and traded for Cam Atkinson and Ryan Ellis. It was the first time since that summer that I remember being this excited about it, July 1st. And maybe it's fool's gold and it was bad signings and not inspiring signings, but it was still something to talk about. I don't know what to tell you. Is it great? No. Is it good? I don't know. Was it necessary? Yes, it was necessary. The Flyers got to fill out this roster. But we'll see how these players work out. They're different names under a different coach. Who knows? We can't really say in July how this team is going to play out with these guys. But, I get everybody is a little like, I get it. Would I rather have, yeah. We're trying to stop making goddamn mistakes. Barrera's a tweener between ass cheeks. Steve, what do you want him to do? And let's go at it this way. What do you guys want him to do? And you know what? With that being said, it's a perfect segue. The phone lines are open. So I'm going to put the link in. The phone lines are open. You guys can chime in whenever you want. And I like to hear what do you think the Flyers should do? And give me your impression of their first day of free agency. So phone lines are open. He's competing with Ryan Ellis for games played. Ricky is watching. Ricky, how are you tonight? I ain't spending a lick on this team next year. Steve, listen, we got some more time to go. We got some more dominoes that need to fall. If someone asked me, what do I project the Flyers lineup roster to be this year? I don't know. I can't tell you what it's going to be either. I don't know what the lines are going to look like. Even after today, I can't tell you. It's very cloudy. I can't tell you any of that stuff. But, again, I don't know what to say. I'm confused too. But they checked the block. They got their fourth line center back at $5.4 million a year. And they checked the block with the goaltending situation, at least for the next 2 years. So what else do you want the Flyers to do? That's the question I got for you guys. What else should they do? Danny B better have a career GM next year. I get the frustrations, man. I really do. I have to jet to bed. I will hit the phone lines next show. All right, Steve. Well, I appreciate you chiming in, stopping by. But Flyers, it's free agency. How do you feel? Are the Flyers, in your opinion, a better team today than they were yesterday? Have they made a significant amount of moves to compete in 24 or 25, 26? Or is this just sticking your hole in the dam, once again, trying to hold back the water? And what are you left confused by the direction of this team as we move into next season? Again, I caution everybody out there by saying there were some talent available free agency wise, but there was older talent. It was talent that didn't fit necessarily the long-term direction of the Flyers. And the obvious point here is they're committed to building from within. Now, on the minus side, which confused me a little bit today as well, Ole Lixell is no longer a Flyer. He signed with the Senators. The Flyers also did not tender offers to Zayd Wisdom, Caleb Denoyer. Is that Caleb? Or who's Elliot? Elliot Denoyer, not Caleb, not the brother. Not the one that was just drafted, but his brother. And Ryan Peltier are all not tendered contracts. So they're all now unrestricted free agents. So one of the major problems that I have with that is with Denoyer and Wisdom, that's part of that 2020 draft class that's a total bust, as well as Peltier. Essentially, we traded Frost and Farabee for a second and third round draft pick. And that to me is a little bit more concerning. Not the two minor league players, but Jacob Peltier being non-tendered, essentially given his walking papers. Ole Lixell was a spark plug guy, a guy that would fill in, eat ice time when players were hurt. Was he ever going to stick with the Flyers? And he'll have the same role with Ottawa that he did here in Philadelphia, in terms of kind of going up and down through the different rosters when needed. So I'm not really upset about losing him, but I am a little mystified about the Peltier thing. I'm a little mystified why they just did not want to, as an RFA, give him a contract. I mean, he showed some life outside of John Tortorella. I was interested enough to see how he might proceed, but that's a little bit more interesting to me than the actual signings today. So that's where I stand on that. I will say this: at least we didn't overpay for like Vinny Lecavalier in 2013. Listen, I would definitely. Okay, so you're telling me Christian Dvorak in 2025, which is an overpay, and Danny B went on as much to say that he kind of got caught in a bidding war, and it happens, when players are being attracted by multiple suitors. But Vinny Lecavalier at least came here with some pedigree. He came here with some history. I mean, Christian Dvorak is coming here with nothing much really. As a fourth line guy. I mean, that's all he is. But he's established, and it's a 1-year deal. It's a low risk. It's a low risk contract. So I don't know. I hear you, Steve. I do. I hear you. So all right, let's go to phone lines. We got one. Ricky, what's going on? You want to talk Phillies, Ricky? What do you want to talk about?
Go Phillies.
Indeed, Ricky, go Phillies. So, Rick, 2-4 on the last road trip. Aside from the 13 runs they scored on Friday night against the Braves, they scored about 4 runs over the course of 6 or 7 games. Are you concerned?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're concerned. What? So the concern that you have, is this something that is a new concern of yours, or is this something that sort of fits the mold of what this team has been over the last 2 or 3 years?
The team.
What do you think they need to do, Ricky? Is it time to start looking at other options? Is it time to start trying to? And you've heard me say this on the show. I don't think they can reconstruct the offense in season. I think it's impossible. It's going to be damn near impossible. But if we don't win a World Series, which I don't think we are this year, should the Phillies consider breaking up this team in some way or form and trying to bring in new players next season?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're all at that point, Ricky. Honestly, I really do. All right, Ricky, listen, man, you have yourself a great holiday. I hope you come back on Thursday night. We'll talk then. Okay, man?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ricky Deal checking in. That's what I'm talking about. Ricky is concerned about the Phillies. So am I. Barbara. Hey, hon, Bryce Harper is back from his mysterious injury, and we get 6 hits, so all is good, I guess. Yeah, well, we got 6 hits. We scored 4 runs, Barbara. Listen, I said this last night. Bryce Harper aside, Bryce Harper is what he is, which I also talked about this last night, too. Is anybody else concerned or mesmerized by the fact that he didn't get a rehab assignment? He was gone for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and he didn't get at least 1 or 2 games down somewhere to kind of knock some rust off before he came back up here. It's interesting. But anyway, about the 6 hits, they did eke out 4 runs, and they got dominating pitching. And this is what the Phillies look like when things are working good, right? They get dominant pitching, and the offense does just enough to win. This is what it's supposed to look like. Now, unfortunately, we haven't been able to capture that consistently. And as I just said with Ricky, aside from those 13 runs they scored against the Braves on Friday, I think they scored 6 runs all week, which is very, very concerning. So I agree. Is Bryce Harper the spark plug? Is Bryce Harper going to reignite the offense? Probably not. Let's call it what it is. And does Bryce Harper's return cause a problem for Otto Kemp? And what I mean by that, I am under the school of thought that Otto Kemp needs to play every day. And if he's going to sit on the bench, why didn't you just send Kemp back down to the minors and save Buddy Kennedy the DFA? Why did you just do? Why not just do that? Because Kemp sitting on the bench does nothing in the development of Otto Kemp. Absolutely nothing. So Bryce Harper's return is good, obviously, but it does promote another problem potentially. Joe, call in. That's what Ricky wants you to do. He wants you to call in. The Phillies are not letting Andrew Painter pitch in the Futures game and are shutting him down during the All-Star break to give him a break. Yeah, you mentioned that last night. But is this a prelude to calling him up? I don't think it is. I don't think it's a prelude. I don't think Andrew Painter's getting called up. Not in July. I don't think he is. Again, if they're load managing him right now, is a call up to the majors something he needs to really be kind of considering? If maybe he can't, if they're concerned about the workload at the AAA level, I mean, does a call up to the major leagues, does that offset that? No. So again, I've always said this. I don't want to see him this year. I don't want to see Andrew Painter this year. I think he needs a whole year in the minors. Get that arm strong, get that arm good. Next spring, it's full speed ahead. He goes to camp, and we go from there. They push Nola to a corner with that contract with 6 more years is terrible. And Nola's, of course, 60-day IL. 60-day IL. Barbara, I think Nola's done for the year. I don't think we're going to see Aaron Nola again. I don't think we are. And talk about mystery injury. That's the same thing with Aaron Nola. What's the real story there? Joe says he'll call in next week. Okay, Joe. Well, the phone lines are open, folks. As you can see, the link is floating around out there. So please chime in if you want to. Thoughts on the Phillies rumors with the Pirates and Twins? I heard the rumor with the Pirates with Bednard and the other reliever. I did not hear the rumor with the Twins. What is that, Joe? Educate us all. To address the Bednar and the other reliever from the Pirates rumor, that's great. You know, if we could pry those two away from the Pirates, that's fine, but I don't want to ship half the organization to Pittsburgh because that's what it's going to take to get those two. Bednard's been rumored to be being traded for the last 5 years. And if the Pittsburgh Pirates finally pull the trigger on it, which I think he's a free agent, right, impending, if the Pirates actually pull the trigger on it, they're going to want a lot back. And they're going to throw in their setup guy as well. They're not letting them walk away for Brandon Marsh and Bryson Stott. They're not going to let that happen. They're going to want at least 5 or 6 prospects. They're going to at least they're going to want a lot in return. And I'm not interested in that. And again, I tell you this. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think the pitching across the board, to include the bullpen, can win you a World Series. I think they can. It's, to me, about the offense. It's always been about the offense. That is the problem. That's the major bugaboo for me, is if this offense hasn't been able to figure it out for years, that is where the center of the universe of Phillies problems lie for me, is in the offense. I'm absolutely fine with the way the pitching is right now. Now, would I like another arm out there? Yeah, and maybe we could find something. What's the dude from the Nationals, Finnegan? He's an interesting potential player that I wouldn't mind bringing him here, right? But I don't need to drain the minor leagues for 2 rent-a-player relief pitchers and just roll down the street with the same offense, because we're just throwing good money after bad. It's the offense. And unfortunately, you're not going to be able to fix the offense in season. You're just not going to be able to do it. And everybody, I think, if you think about it, if you throw up all the Phillies thoughts on a board, if you break it all down and do the hangover like math thing, right? It'll all come back to the offense. If this team can figure out how to hit, and again, I'm tired of saying that. because they haven't figured it out in 3 years, and I don't think there ever are. But if they could, we'd roll to a World Series with the pitching the way it is. The Jose Alvarado thing was a kick to the nuts. Yeah. Could you use another power arm out there? Maybe. Or do you have it internally? As I said, I still think the bullpen is good, serviceable, if they had roles and a routine, and they felt those roles and routines on a daily basis. Starting pitching is among the best in the league. It all comes down to me with the offense and the lack thereof. Pitching wins championships, but the Phillies are going to put that theory to the test in 2025. They are. They're definitely going to do that. And I just don't think their offense is consistent enough to take them all the way. And I hope that they make significant changes to that offense in the offseason, because there's still a shell of some good players that are on this team that can be kept here. And you can move some other players in between them and maybe get this offense a little bit more potent for next year. I do not want to throw away my farm system on 2 rental back-end relievers and do nothing for the offense, thinking that that's the problem. It's the bullpen is the problem. It's not. The bullpen is not the problem. The starting rotation is not the problem. The problem is the offense. And I think you people know that. Absolutely, Ricky. Everybody can call in once a night. I believe it's a Twins closer. Okay, I didn't hear that. I did hear the Pirates rumor. I did. But when I'm listening to trying to pry away 2 high back-end bullpen pieces, and one of them being Bednar from the Pirates, I'm envisioning just the entire Lehigh Valley Iron Pig squad being relocated to Pittsburgh. That's what I'm envisioning. This is all going to move out there because that's where they're all going to go, to include the coaching staff and the manager. I just think the price is going to be way too much for that. So I don't want it. Phillies need Skeens. You can imagine that would immediately be my favorite. That would be my favorite Philly player too. Paul Skeens is the man. Barbara, what are we talking here? Now, I know it sounds ridiculous, and I think I brought it up a few weeks ago. Do the Pirates think about moving Skeens, right? I mean, the Pirates are about a bazillion years away from contending. Are the Pirates in a position that Skeens would do better, more for them being traded than he would playing for them? And I think that's a question they got to ask themselves. But can you imagine what a Paul Skeens trade would be? Woo, man. Whoa, Nelly. Say goodbye to all the top prospects. Crawford, Miller, Painter, Raconis, Kemp. What's Steve's favorite? Keaton Anthony. They'd all go, man. It'd be a wholesale fire sale for the Phillies. But the question would be, because Skeens is under team control for the next 5 seasons, is that a move you make? Do the Phillies make that move? They would have a lockdown. Listen to this rotation heading into 2026. This is my MattyB magical rotation if Paul Skeens was traded here. You got Wheeler, Skeens, right? Wheeler, Skeens, Sanchez, Painter, and Abel. You notice I didn't say Nola or Suarez, right? Could you live with that rotation? I sure as hell could. Man, that's a damn good rotation. No, you wouldn't have Painter. You wouldn't have Abel. Sorry. Forgot. They'd be going in trade. So maybe it wouldn't be so good. Now that I think about it, I had to go back to it. I got excited, and I forgot that it would probably take Painter and Abel in order to make that deal. So maybe you wouldn't have them, guys. But that would be an interesting. If we could find our way to Paul Skeens, that would be great. I don't want to see a trade for a closer, as Robbie will not use him as a closer and he will walk after the season. Yeah, and then we've seen that happen before too. We saw it happen last year. I remember the day they traded for Estevez. Dombrowski went on, was interviewed, and he said straight up, "Yeah, I know he's been a closer in Anaheim, but we're going to." And he literally said, "But we are going to ask him to do more things here." And you're absolutely 100% correct. I don't want to see that either, because you're going to mortgage more assets for a rental. and they're going to walk anyway because they're not going to want to stay here because they're not going to close. Again, this is all like simpatico and dominoes, man. It all has an effect. So I agree with you. But all right, so we've kind of hashed out a few things. Flyer free agency is off and running. Christian Dvorak, Dan Vladar, Noah Jusen, Dennis Gilbert, and I say Christian Dvorak, are your 4 new Flyers. Not needle movers, not all-inspiring, but there is some boxes that have been checked by me. We got the goalie for the next couple seasons that we should be able to work with to get us to the next group of prospects. We found a replacement for Ryan Poehling. Granted, it was a $5.4 million a year for 1 year replacement, but you got to look at that as well as by saying, is it time for some of these prospects to start making a move? Is the 1 year Christian Dvorak the 1 year bridge to Jet Lachenko for 26-27? Perhaps. So you got to kind of look at it, things like that. This is the step in the rebuild. This is phase 2. You've gotten through your assessment period. You've decided what players you're going forward with and what players you're not going forward with. And of course, that was Lawton, Farabee, Frost. Who else did they get rid of? Those players that got traded last year, they decided those are not the players we're going forward with. So we've identified the core players that we're moving forward with. Now it's about filling in the gaps, filling in the spaces until some of the prospects and draft picks that we've had and maybe some trades that we can make. We got the Zebras thing going here. And perhaps it's free agent class based because it wasn't a very sexy class to begin with. Wasn't a lot of players that fit the Flyers timeline, but the Flyers had to go out and spend money because they had to fill some gaps. They had to bring at least some talent on paper here. And honestly, we don't know what these players will be. We don't know how they're all going to fit into Rick Tocchet's system and scheme. They don't know how they're going to fit in and mesh in with players that the Flyers already have here. And of course, the other big news, and I mentioned the Flyers that not tendering offers to Caleb Desnoyers, Zayd Wisdom, or Jacob Peltier. All of them are now unrestricted free agents. Ole Lixell signed with the Ottawa Senators. And Tyson Forster, big news, bombshell. Dealing with a bicep injury that allegedly is now infected, which will now push that timeline a little further back. So his start of his season is in jeopardy. And the amount of time that he's going to miss of this new season that's still 3 months away or 4 months away, that he's going to miss is in jeopardy. So, the hits keep coming here for the Flyers as they get ready for the start of the season. But it's a rebuild, man. And I'm starting to sound like Al when it comes to that's baseball crap. But yeah, it's a rebuild. What do you expect? What do you expect? God damn it. Would you go get the Diamondbacks third baseman? Is that that's not Lordiel, is it? No, is that Naylor? Who are you talking about? Who's the Diamondbacks third baseman? Throwing some names out at me, man. What you got here? What we got? Suarez. Oh, yeah. How many third basemen do we need there, Joe Hale? How many third basemen are you trying to acquire? I know we got 2 of them right now that they can't play all at the same time. Joe, no. Listen, Joe, I know you're the eternal optimist. I should say that you're the eternal optimist. You're trying to, in your mind, finagle a trade that's going to unlock the offense. It's not going to happen, Joe. It's not going to happen. This offense is not operating on a lot of different levels, and it's structurally not right. Bringing in Suarez, bringing in Cedric Mullins, bringing in what are the other ridiculous names I've heard? Somebody mentioned it here in the chat. I saw it. Either it's coming up or, but bringing in a player like that is not going to do anything to this lineup. It's going to require wholesale needs and wholesale changes throughout. That this is not going to be done in season. So no, Suarez is an interesting Interesting name. I mean, but what's it going to cost to get him for one season or for 2 months? I don't know. I no. It's not what we're not one offensive player away. We're multiple. It's not even the players, Joe. It's not even the players. This offense is so structurally misbuilt. It's power hitter after power hitter after power hitter, and then you got a couple guys at the bottom of the lineup that can't make contact. That is a terrible way the lineup is built, and you're going to have to sit down and take time and strip this thing down and build it back the right way. And bringing in one player is not – the Phillies are not one bat away from a World Series championship. They're not. The offense is flawed, up and down 1 through 9. We saw it through a week's worth of games. They're flawed. They're averaging less than 5 runs a game. They're averaging less. They're batting in the 250s with runners in scoring position. They're averaging over 7 runners left on base a game. This is a flawed offense that's been a flawed offense for a very long period of time. And one bat ain't going to fix that. I like Trey Turner leading off, but Schwarber batting 2 isn't in my opinion. I'd rather see. Oh, absolutely. Schwarber needs a bat 4. I agree. 100%. 100%. After the Houston series, Thompson said we faced some major league pitching. I just rolled my eyes. Well, he's not going to say we suck. He's not going to say that. No, not tomorrow. I am not going to be on the air tomorrow. I've already said at the top of the show, Ricky, no final word tomorrow night. I will be in Canada tomorrow, but I'll be back on Thursday. So no show tomorrow night, but I will be back Thursday. Every night, 10 p.m. Every single night, 10 p.m. or directly after the Fightins final or Clear the Ice. Whatever. I'm either going to be on at 10 or after the postgame show or whatever postgame we're talking about. Okay? The offense is the problem, but the bullpen with no roles and closer by committee hasn't worked and has won nothing, so the bullpen is a problem. No, theoretically it is. Structurally, I don't think it is. I think the answers are in the bullpen if they had roles, if they had a committee. If there was no committee, it was a closer, setup guy, 6th-inning guy, or 7th-inning, 6th-inning guy, all that. I think the Phillies have the players in the bullpen right now. They just don't have any roles. And we can have all the pitching in the world, Michael Papernick. And again, I want to take you back to the Houston series. You have all the pitching in the world. If you can't score a friggin' run, if you can't score 2 runs, if you can't score 5 runs, which the Phillies can't. I don't care if you got a rotation that follows Nolan Ryan. I don't care if Nolan Ryan, Steve Carlton, Kurt Schilling, Roger Clemens, Dennis Eckersley are all in your rotation, and then you got Mariano Rivera coming out of the bullpen, and Bruce Sutter and Raleigh Fingers and Goose Gossage. I don't care if you have all of them out there. It ain't going to matter if you cannot score runs. So I will live by the offensive sword, and I will die by it in 2025. If the Phillies offense can be unlocked, and I don't think they can, because it's been years. But if they could find a way to unlock that offense, we're not going to be talking about the bullpen. The bullpen will be insignificant. The bullpen will be an afterthought, right? The way the starting pitching has been, if the offense can start hitting and be the offense that they were supposedly advertised to be, which they haven't been, then we're not talking about the bullpen. And yes, if the bullpen had roles, who knows what we're talking about when it comes to the bullpen. Do they need another arm out there? Yeah. The Alvarado thing sucks, and they need some more power pitching back end bullpen type guy. They do. But you're right. They need roles. I've said it as well. Is Ryan Kirkering a closer? We don't know because he's never been given the opportunity to do it. And I don't mean, hey, Monday, you're the closer. Hey, Thursday, you're the closer. Hey, Sunday, you're the closer. That's not what I mean by given an opportunity. But given the job and said, prepare your day, prepare yourself every day as the closer. We've never given him or anybody else that opportunity on this baseball team. So you're absolutely right. It's a problem, but it's a philosophic problem, in my opinion. Right? It's a philosophical problem right now with this team because we've never given these guys the opportunity to find roles. Is it a talent problem? I can't sit here and tell you that it is or isn't. I don't know because we've never given anybody the chance. But if you're asking me if I had to choose the red or blue pill, the red pill being the offense, the blue pill being the bullpen, I'm swallowing the red pill all day. because I would. This team's offense needs to get unlocked, because if they can unlock it, there's nobody stopping them. But they can't. Bryson, yeah. Again, is that going to do anything for this team? Emilio Estevez was a massive failure here. Was he? Yes. He was not a given an opportunity to be the closer. He was the closer Monday, setup guy Tuesday, came in the 6th inning on Wednesday. How the hell can you run a bullpen like that? Why would anybody come here to do that? Remember the Josh Hader rumors a couple years ago? Josh Hader was never coming to this town with the way the bullpens run. Tomorrow, can I do another one of your greatest Phillies trades? I can. I'll do one Thursday, not tomorrow. Tomorrow, no show tomorrow. Remember? No show. But yes, Thursday, I'll do another one. We were up to number 7. I've only done 2 of them, or 3. I've done 3 of them. Yeah, we'll resume the list. Oh, I missed the Flyer stuff. I saw they traded up in the draft for a tall, skinny kid. I hope he turns out for good. Yeah, Porter Martone. And by the way, for you South Philly jabronis, it's not Martoni, all right? It's Porter Martone, okay? Let's just call the kid by his right name, all right? I'm hearing all kinds of variations, and I get it. We're from Philly, and I'm just as bad as everybody else, but it's Porter Martone, not Martoni, all right? Okay? Just want to put it out there, a little PSA. I read a hypothetical trade: Phillies, Mick Abel, and number 26 prospect catcher Olio Farabus to the Twins for center fielder Bryce Buxton. Hell no. Listen, I am team Mick Abel, Michael Papernick. I am team Mick Abel. I think Mick Abel is your Ranger Suarez next year. I do. I think Mick Abel is your new Ranger Suarez next year, because Ranger's going to go. He's going to leave a free agency. We're going to need someone to replace him with, and I think it's Mick Abel. And I also believe that Andrew Painter will be the new Aaron Nola next year. I think our rotation is going to look drastically different next year. I think Nola's not coming back, and I don't think Ranger's coming back. So I want Mick Abel as my 4th starter, and I want Painter as my 5th. I exercised the club option on Luzardo. I got Wheeler, Luzardo, Sanchez, Abel, Painter. That is my rotation in 2026. So I need both. I need him. As far as Farabus goes, we talked about this. Catching is one of the positions that this team has absolutely no depth in, franchise-wise. And he's been actually really a good story down there in low A. Or high A. Where's he at? Is he in high A? Yeah, I think it was Jersey Shore. If we draft Tyler Stevenson or Luke Stevenson like I want to do, then okay, we get rid of him. But I'll be okay with getting rid of him. I would be. But no, I do not want Mick Abel traded. I am team Mick Abel. Matty, I saw the Tops already has a new card out. Yes, and they also have Mick Abel's card out. Mick Abel's got his debut card that came out a couple weeks ago. It's a 1/1 relic. It's got a piece of the game ball that he used on his 9th strikeout, and it's an auto. Now, the card to be looking out for Mick Abel later this season will be his Topps Chrome updated card, which will be his the rookie debut card with the piece of the rookie debut patch he wore that day. That'll also be a 1/1 with a auto. But yes, I did see that a Series 2 card for Otto Kemp is out. Yeah, they're very fast when it comes to that. Extremely fast. It is part of Series 2. Who's doing live tomorrow? We are not doing anything live tomorrow, with the exception, of course, of the Fight's Final. There is no final word tomorrow. Tomorrow there will be no show. Thursday, can you do the greatest instead of tomorrow? Yes, I can. Absolutely. I don't want to see a closer traded for, as we will not be used away, so it's useless to trade prospects for any closer. I agree. 100%, Michael Papernick. 100%. All right, let's go now to our Of the Night segment here on the program. All right, the other night segment. We kind of started this last night, and I'm going to continue doing it tonight. With the MLB draft closing in on us, with the MLB draft happening in about 2 weeks during the All-Star weekend festivities in Hotlanta, we are now taking a look at players that the Phillies might want to look at targeting with the 26th overall pick in the draft. We've done 2 players so far, and we're going to continue this list tonight. Now, let's remind the people who are playing at home, the first player that I think the Phillies would be fools not to target at 26 is the aforementioned Luke Stevenson, the catcher from North Carolina, the best catcher in this draft. He's got a legit shot of falling to 26. Now, if he's there, I think the buck stops with him. I think it's a no-brainer. The Phillies take him. If there's a position in this organization, top to bottom, that we are completely devoid of any prospects or potential, it's catcher. And if you have the opportunity to draft the best catcher available in a draft, then I think you take it. So he would be on MattyB's draft board, my number 1 target for the Phillies. If he's not there, last night we talked about the hulking Kurt Schoolcraft, the 6'8" senior in high school who's up to throwing 97 miles an hour at the age of 17. He's a big dude who apparently also has some pop in his bat, but it's about the pitching. He's a lefty. He's a project. He can throw fast. He can throw hard, but he does not throw very, no break. Everything is flat and up. But in high school, if you're throwing 97 miles an hour, you're going to get noticed. And after Seth Hernandez, which is the potential best pitcher in this draft, he might be, he's top 5, which in this draft is not very deep with pitching. So he's the potential that he might be there at 26. So tonight's player we're going to target is Ethan Conrad from Wake Forest. He's an outfielder or first baseman. He's another player that might be available at 26. Seaver climbed the 2024's first round after transferring to Wake, and Conrad could do the same, and I think he has. As a right fielder with a chance for solid tools across the board, he slashed .389, .467, and .704 with 9 homers and a D1 leading 13 triples, including a record 4 in one game at Marist during the spring, then finished a second on the Cape in batting .385 and an OPS of 9.19. Now, of course, the Cape is the summer college league, the top summer college league in America. There's these summer college leagues that are spread up all over the country at this time of the year. And the Cape Cod League is where all the best players, D1 commits or MLB potential draft picks all go to. Now, these are numbers based off of last summer's, not, of course, this summer, but this is all from last year. But Ethan Conrad checks a couple boxes for me as well. He's a corner outfielder, and we're thin on those. He also hits for contact, and he also has the ability to run. We are devoid of all of that. And he is potentially 5, 6, 7 years from now could be part of that next revolution of Phillies players. So at 26 overall, a corner outfield with some first base potential and with the ability to contact the ball and to stretch doubles into triples, and with a very healthy 704, I will definitely look at that. I'm not concerned about his home runs. I really don't care anymore about home runs. But I think he's a perfect, he's a Keaton Anthony type player, actually, if you look at his numbers in Anthony and the way their game is. So if Ethan Conrad is available at 26 overall, I'm going there. So MattyB's big board goes Stevenson, Schoolcraft, and Conrad, and we'll continue to break down some of these players as we get closer to this year's draft, which is about in 2 weeks or so. Moniak, who's already released this year, has more home runs than any Phillies player other than Schwarber. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. So tomorrow is Mike or is it Steve for the Fightins final? Great question, Joe Hale. And the answer to that question is unequivocally Mike Laro. So Mike had the dubious honor of taking us home with one game, but like we did last time, and I think Mike Lauderdale actually ended up with that game as well. We will do one final Fightins final. We're not going to do a Fightins final at the end of the game one. We'll do a Fightins final at the end of game two, and we'll wrap both games up into one show. And that'll be on sometime tomorrow night after game two. Again, we have a 1:05 and a 6:05 start time tomorrow at CBP for the doubleheader. So it'll be Mike Lauro taking you through and covering that back end of that doubleheader, or covering the entire doubleheader. So stay tuned. All right, you know what time it is. Yeah, MattyB's card review is arrived. Is the perfect best time of the night. I get an opportunity to talk about baseball cards, football cards, hockey cards, or basketball cards tonight. Yeah, we're staying in baseball. Tonight we're staying in baseball, but we're going more modern. Matter of fact, we haven't really focused a lot on the modern era of baseball cards. A lot of talk about the 80s, a lot of talk about the 90s, some early 2000s cards on this show, but tonight we're going into the 2019 Topps. 2019 Topps set, which was a very interesting year for Topps baseball cards. Some interesting players burst onto the scene at baseball that year. And here's one of them right now, and that is tonight's card. It is the Ronald Acuna Jr. Topps Rookie Cup card from 2019. But it's a little bit different. This is a base card from Series 1, number 1 of Series 1. But this card is the foil version of the base card. Of course, so when you have base cards, you have base cards. But you also have some variety cards or parallels. And this is one of the parallels. It's the foil version of the base card. It's not a chrome. It's not a refractor. It's not a rainbow foil. It's a foil. It is a parallel, and it's a little bit more valuable than a base card, but not as valuable as a chrome. I guess that makes any sense. Acuna, of course, his rookie season was 2018. This is the numbers compiled from that year. This is considered his rookie card. And, barring those injuries that he's had throughout his career, when he's on the field, he's one of the more dominant players in our game. And this card reflects that. This is, of course, the full front versions of the modern Topps baseball card. You got one bottom border with the name, team name, and the rest of the card is of the card. This was something that Topps did pretty much committed to back in 2014 and has pretty much gone that way every single season. No more spending any more money and time on fancy borders or gimmicks. It's just a straight baseball card. But with the foil, the silver finish of this card makes it kind of pop a little bit. And where this card as a base card raw is about maybe $8, but this card as a foil base card, as a PSA 10, you're looking at a card that's close to $100 in value for a 2019 card. So a considerable financial difference between the two types of card. Smart looking design of the card. Again, it's kind of following that now that we consider this the traditional Topps format, the way they lay out their baseball cards with the full front and just a little time and effort spent on the borders. But here it is. That's your card of the night. And it's a slick card. I mean, it's not like, ooh, it's not very impressive, but it's a base card. But, and I don't know if it's going to show off so you get kind of the reflection a little bit. There it is in its physical form. I guess you're seeing some of the reflection off of that foil right now. And that that's a parallel, man. That's a variety. That looks pretty cool, the way that pops. See how the picture's kind of superimposed in front of the effect in the back. It's got a nice silver background to it. Acuna almost looks like he's 3D on this thing. It's a cool looking card. This is a very, very clean card here. I'm holding a PSA 9. I guarantee you I'm holding a PSA 9 right here. So I'm holding in excess of value of about $100 right now. And that's not too bad for a base card with a foil variety or a foil verity from 2019. So there you go. The 2019 Ronald Acuna Rookie Cup foil Topps base number 1 of the 2019 set. And there you go. That was your card review of the night. Hope you liked it. Glad I caught you tonight. I'll keep looking for you. Thank you, Barbara, as always. Good show, and I have a good trip to Canada. Cannot wait. We're doing a turn and burn, leaving in the morning, coming home on Thursday. Going to check out some Blue Jays Yankee action from Skydome, Rogers Center, whatever they call the place. His brother is doing good. Great show. Thanks, Joe. What part of Canada? I'm going to Toronto. I'll be in Toronto tomorrow for a day. Going to catch a baseball game. So, Yankees, Blue Jays. First time I've ever... No, that's not true. First professional game this year, though. Yeah, my first professional game this year. Wow. All right, everybody. I'm going to a Yankee Blue Jays game before I'm going to a Phillies game. Interesting. Times have changed. All right. Remember, be on the lookout for all the programming here on the network. As I said earlier in the show, a little PSA. Nothing will change because of the holiday. The regularly scheduled programs will appear on their regularly scheduled times. So be on the lookout for that. Take us with you on your 4th of July festivities. Take us to the beach. Take us to the Poconos. Take us to your backyard barbecue. And we'll be right there with you as we'll be providing you the best entertainment that we possibly can on this 4th of July holiday. And I'll see you guys Thursday night. And don't forget the Fight is Final will be back tomorrow. Joe's got family in Canada. Oh, good for you, Joe. We'll be back tomorrow with the Fight is Final, and I'll be back tomorrow on Thursday night with the Final Word. Also, Thursday night is the Attacking Third, and then all the great programming throughout the weekend. So until we speak again, you guys have a great rest of your night and an even better tomorrow.